Hello, my friends. Welcome to another Intuitive Art live stream with Rachel Archelaus. That is me, founder of the Intuitive Art Academy, and Carrie Roldan, our certification coach and business BFF.
And I'm here and feeling like I'm in a different place in my house. I'm trying to get the lighting right. I look bald with my hair slicked back today. And every time I sit in this spot, the light is like a little different. But today I have one black eye. So just go with it, I guess.
It's kind of fitting for today. We're talking about experimenting in your life so that you can get a feel for or dip your toe into a more resonant situation for you. And I sent the email earlier in the day than I normally do. And we have more people live showing up. So I'll continue to do that. And hi, Guillaume. I'm so glad that you think this sounds interesting because I do too. And I realized that I do this because you guys, I'm going to be honest with you. I get a lot of comments about how free I am and how fearless I live and how myself I am. And maybe that's true, but let me tell you, I take baby steps, baby steps. And we'll be talking about that today. How is it that it seems like I'm doing weird stuff, new stuff, letting myself have my own flow, creating a life where I get to travel whenever I want, etc. Well, it's because I do one tiny little thing at a time. And then I realize, oh, it's not so bad. I can do that. Nothing bad happened. And then I do a little bit more. And it's what happens cumulatively that makes it look like there are no limits. Because there are no limits. But sometimes we have to show ourselves that in a smaller way first. So I'm going to let Carrie chime in and see if maybe she can relate to this topic.
Yeah, okay. Tell me the topic again. Say what it was.
Yeah, so it's here. I don't even remember what the exact thing was. Oh, experiment with your dream life or something.
Perfect. Like that. Okay. Yes. Well, I knew you were talking about baby steps, but I couldn't remember what taking baby steps for. But yes, that idea of dipping your toe in and experimenting, and how funny that I showed up experimenting with being in a different place in my house. And because guess what? This was the path of most ease for me today. And I did have something to say about baby steps, because sorry, it took me a long time to remember that word. Because I am thinking about something I heard a while ago that made so much sense to me, and it gave me such relief. And it is this idea that, we think of quantum leaps as giant quantum leaps. Like quantum sounds like something really big. Remember the TV show, like Quantum Leap, and he would leap through time, and it was this big thing. But I read somewhere that like a quantum leap is actually like the tiniest, most minuscule step possible, right? It's just, it's a series of itty teeny tiny baby leaps that then one day we notice. And for me, it's like when people are losing weight, they always say, you'll notice how you feel first, then you'll notice how you look. Like you'll notice small changes. I don't remember how it is. And then like your loved ones, right? People who see you all the time might notice. And then like the general public doesn't tend to notice that you've lost weight until you've lost like a significant amount, right? Like 15 pounds or something, where maybe you notice at 1 pound and your husband notices at 5 pounds and your kids notice at 10 pounds. But like the world itself doesn't start asking you, oh, wow, did you start losing weight? Until you've lost what to you is a quantum leap amount of weight. Only it wasn't a quantum leap amount because it took you 6 weeks or however long it took you to do it. So I love this topic of baby steps. And it is fitting for me because I tend to be the one that wants to just like long jump over the Grand Canyon. So, thanks for this.
Me too, but I don't. long jump over the Grand Canyon. I pick a weekend on my calendar that I want to go to the Grand Canyon. And then I realize, like, oh, well, that's not going to work. So it has to be here. And then I think about stocking up my car the night before and I don't. And then I wake up late and then I do it. And then I leave like 4 hours later than I planned. And then I get there in the dark. And then the next morning, I'm so cold and I want to sleep in. And then I put my shoes on and I get out there and I hike down the Grand Canyon and I have the best time ever. And it's so much fun, so amazing. And then I come home and I can't wait to do it again. So like, I'm a person that has those really big, I'm going to sell my TV show. I'm going to be a showrunner. I'm going to have my movie. You're going to see my movie in the theater and it's going to be amazing. But first I'm going to learn about the industry and then I'm going to learn to write it and then I'm going to learn to sell it and then I'm going to meet the producers and so what I find while coaching and while talking to a lot of people is when you decide it's safe for you to have big dreams, because that's really the first thing, right? Experimenting with dreaming again, because so many people stop dreaming. So having the dream, and then a lot of people are like, oh, but I can't do that. Oh, but I'm married. I could never travel by myself. I couldn't, then the excuses come in. So you have the dream and then you think, but that's not for me. I can't do that. I'm not cut out for that. I don't know how to do that. I'm not free enough to do that. My circumstances permit me to not do that. And this is where we're advocating these baby steps, this experimenting. Okay, so what if your thing is you really want to go on a retreat by yourself, but you're married and you would feel bad because your spouse has to stay home and work and you've never taken a trip apart before. And the thought of leaving things, they got to fend for themselves for dinner, they got to feed the kids or the cats, and go by yourself and spend the money on yourself and the time away. A lot of times that's for people, they just can't imagine doing that. They think that they signed up to be married and their role is to be by their partner's side. It sounds really severe, but I've helped a lot of people through that very thing. And so the first thing is maybe go away for the evening, like have an evening class so that they have to make their own dinner for one night and see, like, they're probably going to be like really supportive of you leaving the house and they get to have some alone time too and order a pizza, or let's say. So you realize, oh, it's not the end all be all that my mind is making this out to be. And then maybe you go away for a Saturday and come back, Saturday night. And then maybe you build up to feeling free enough to go away for that multi-day retreat. It's about breaking it down and not just crossing something off the list because you don't feel comfortable completing the big task all at once.
Okay, Rachel, do you know that you're describing something that actually happened for me?
I remember when you went away for the first time, but I didn't know it was a mental thing.
Well, it wasn't. So that's why I think it's so interesting. I was like, holy crap, does she even remember this? Yes. Okay, so this exact example happened for me in my life and in my business. So I was married. I'm still married. I had, just to clarify, I had 3 little kids, but I had probably been seeking retreat, right? Time for myself and my business for years before I finally did it. And I did have a list of excuses, and mine wasn't about like, can they fend for themselves? But there was a little bit of that. But my list of excuses was around like, that'll never happen and he'll never be okay with it. And the money is better spent elsewhere and like all of that. So for me, it wasn't about, the baby steps were actually like tiny mental hurdles and recognizing this is a little lie that I'm telling myself. I don't know that he won't be okay with it. And what I saw that happening for myself, and this was a turning point in my like abundance journey. So I know that's not exactly what we're talking about today, but I got to the place where I realized if I keep doing this, if I keep saying I'll wait until we have more before I do it, or I wait until, like, I'm going to be waiting forever. If I wait until I choose to make myself a priority, then I'll always find other reasons. So like first step in that process was just being like, okay, I'm going to do it. And then like something came up, right? And it was even bigger and scarier than I thought. Like it was going to another country and another time zone. And it wasn't just like driving to Arizona for a retreat, which would have been way easier. It was like getting on an international flight and renting a car and like doing a bunch of things that I was telling Rachel, I think I was like 40 at the time. So I was 40 years old and had never done any of those things on my own. And it wasn't for like that I didn't think I could. It was just I never had to. And so it was just a bunch of micro choices and micro decisions. And it was the big decision, though, that I made was to tell my husband that I was going to do it instead of ask him if I could. And that took like some mental gymnastics as well, because I recognized like, well, he does that all the time. He does that all the time. Say, hey, I'm going to do a weekend, or he'll say, I'm planning a weekend. Is that cool? Kind of stuff. And so, yeah, for me, it wasn't testing the waters like on a Saturday night, but it was a series of little internal things that got me to the place where I could confidently get on a plane and be okay and go like drive around in another country on like scary dark roads. And like it was fine. But it took little internal steps for me. She's always listening. Siri, she's always listening. Anyways, yeah, so that's what it was for me. But how funny that you picked that exact example. And what came from that. And this is what I want to say about your TV show and all of it. And I just kept hearing like, you can relax when you know that it's all going to happen. So what came from that was recognizing I spent what felt like a lot of money on it, and more money showed up in its absence. Like it didn't destroy us. It wasn't. And normally when I would do something like that, my husband would always say, well, where's the money? Did you make money from that? Did you make money? Like I would used to frame things as I need to do this for my business. And so every time I would come home from anything, so I guess I'd been to like smaller 3-day events or like little things that I didn't have to go. But he would always be like, so how much money did you make from that? And this time he didn't do that because I framed it in a way that I was like, I deserve to do this. I need to do this for myself. And I think I may have said something like, how many boys trips have you gone on in the past X amount of years or whatever, where he didn't really have an argument. But it was bigger than that. There wasn't objection in him because there wasn't objection in me. And that was the bigger thing. And then feeling good about being able to spend that amount of money purely on me as an investment in myself instead of an investment in my future profits and my business and like all of that left me with a different feeling. So then, of course, you guys know what happened. When I got home from that, it wasn't long until I had made back that much money and so much more. And my business and not just my business, but like my money story has increased so much as a result of doing that 5 years ago. Out of spending that measly, it probably all in all cost me like $3,000. Like it wasn't a $50,000 investment, but it didn't matter. $3,000 felt like a lot of money at the time. And yeah, anyways, that's a long story about what we're talking about.
Yeah, but that's what we're really getting at here is that your truth is your abundance. Your truth. Why are we here if not to live our truth? And if there are things coming up for you that you want to do, there is a way, infinite ways for you to do that. And building up this tool of baby steps or experimenting or however you want to look at it to live your truth is worth it, because that's how you grow on this planet as an abundant, free, secure, happy being. And you notice, like, these are a smaller story of mine. I skied growing up, and it was so fun. I love anything that is like fast downhill kind of thing, like biking and rollerblading. Like I did it all, and it was just such a good feeling. But I developed a fear of heights in my later teens, and then I just hadn't really skied. Or I skied once or twice in Connecticut as an adult, but then coming out west, and we have like gigantic mountains. So like inspired to ski because we have the best powder on earth here in Utah, but also completely intimidated. Completely intimidated. Connecticut mountains are like no match for these Rocky Mountains that I live in right now. But anyway, it's right in my face. Like there are, I don't know, 10 ski resorts within like half an hour of my house, and we have a ski bus to bring us up to the top, and it couldn't be more convenient for me. But I was so afraid of downhill skiing that I went cross-country skiing for the first 2 years I lived here. And then I decided, okay, I know I'm going to love this. I can do it, but I was still acknowledging the fear. So it took me a while, and I kept framing these tiny steps as successes. Like if I get on the bus and go up there and get my pass, I can come back down. I don't have to ski, right? Or if I just book the lesson, that's a success, right? When I get to the lesson, that's a success. Even just deciding to have a lesson before I just go out on my own, just to have someone there with me and show me the ropes, that was a success. Like every tiny little thing that's part of me becoming the person I really want to be, because that's what it's all about. I want to be a person who skis during the day in this beautiful place and enjoys her life. I want to be the person who climbs the big mountains in the summer. And last year, I got a lot of that in. Like, I want to be the person that I'm afraid to be in this moment. But I know that my truth is that. And knowing our truth is what we want can really help us to calm down and plan that out. What is my first step to achieving this? How can I see if this is okay for me? How can I do this in a more comfortable way? Now, I've done bigger things too. Like the first time I ever slept in my RV was when I was driving cross country by myself. And that was not a baby step whatsoever. And it was really scary the first couple hours that I left my house, really scary. But I slept like a baby that first night, and I was so comfortable. And I realized, oh, I'm over the hump. This is great. I can do this. This is amazing. And with Carrie, I'm sure she had that moment of like, oh my God, I'm at the airport by myself. I'm getting on this flight. I got to go like rent a car in a different country. But then she's probably realized at some point, like, oh, I'm doing it. This is fine. I can do this. Of course I can do this. So, you know, if you're the go all the way the first time kind of person, go for it. But it's probably going to be a little bumpier. And then if you are all right, I want to garden all day. I want to see if I can pull this off. Is my business going to fall apart? Or is my spouse going to divorce me because he thinks I'm lazy all of a sudden? I'm going to go on my lunch break, or I'm going to go for the morning, or I'm just going to see what happens if I do this all day. You've got to decide what is the best course of action for you, what feels like it's the path of least resistance for you to be the person that you want to be and to live your truth.
Okay, so much in that. And I'm 100% distracted by my lighting. So I'm shifting around. So if you guys are just listening, you're like, what the heck? But this is a little bit better. So now you're seeing you're seeing me from a whole different angle, you guys. And yes, when you're talking about fear, have you read not Daring Greatly? No, it's Elizabeth Gilbert, and it is the one about creativity. I can't think of it.
I have. I don't remember the name of it either.
All right. If you guys remember, let us know in the chat, because it's probably killing you. I hate it when people do that.
All I remember is her talking about the shit sandwich. What's that like?
I don't remember that. I mean, I know what the shit sandwich is, but I don't remember that. Okay, no, this is about her addressing fear. and recognizing that what is it called? It's going to bug me. I can't remember the name of the book. Anyways, there's this great quote, and I'm going to butcher it, so sorry. But it's like a conversation that she has with fear. And she's like, listen, you, me, and creativity. I understand that we are all in this together. I totally get it that you're here and you're along for the ride and you're never going away. And I get it. And it's fine. And you're welcome to stay. And in fact, I'm going to love you. I'm going to hear your voice. I'm going to acknowledge you. I'm going to see you. But on this road trip, she made it a road trip. Only ever do creativity or I get to drive. Like, you do not get to be in the driver's seat. And I just love that, because I think, you and I had this conversation. I'm not sure if it was on one of these lives or if it was privately, but this idea, we were talking about that thing that people say, feel the fear and do it anyway. And how sometimes when we say feel the fear and do it anyway, it's not the best idea if the fear is genuinely like life-saving fear, or, but when you know what you want and you're afraid, right? That's when you know your truth, but you're afraid. That's when feel the fear and do it anyway can be helpful. And then the other thing that can be helpful, which is like, okay, fear, I acknowledge that you're here, but you are permanently in the back seat. Don't touch the radio. Don't touch the wheel, right? Like, there was something else there about fear and doing it anyway. And
well, I think it's called big magic, right?
yes, there it is. Big magic. But that comes, so feel the fear and do it anyway. I lost my train, you guys. I do that on a regular basis. So it'll come back in the middle of something that Rachel is saying. I wish I could remember, but I can't. But man, there was a good train, because I'm just going to keep talking now, Rachel, unless you have something to say, because it's not just about feel the fear and do it anyway. There it is. It is that whole idea of leap of faith. Like, lots of people talk about having a leap of faith, and that feels like feel the fear and do it anyway. And like, it could go really, really wrong, right? But when it's a leap of faith, it can't go wrong. And so it doesn't matter actually if it's a giant leap or a baby leap, if it's quit your job and garden all day, or if it is find, 15 minutes a day to be out in the garden, or an hour a week, or, whatever it is. If you really knew that what you want wants you back, you would have faith, right? And how do you really know that? You acknowledge your own truth. How do you acknowledge your own truth? You take lots of ways, but one of the ways is to take actions that are within that truth, right? To take those baby steps. And then when you take those baby steps, what happens? It's amazing. You don't die. It felt really good. You find more time to do it. Like, it's this whole momentum thing. That was a rant, but I got where I was going and I feel good about it.
Yeah, no, it's so apt too. Like, we're totally being psychic here, because that's what I was really thinking about yesterday and today, is that I told Eric about it. Like, I am doing what I want when I want. And I know without a shadow of a doubt that everything I want and more is coming to me because of that. My income is going up because I'm gardening outside, and that's what I want to do. Like, I will make more and work less. I will be happier and more abundant. Like, my desire in each moment is the most important thing to listen to. And nothing else matters. What comes to me has nothing to do with anyone else. Meaning, I don't have to convince or influence or plan or strategize of how to manipulate the exterior world in order for me to receive from the world, which is like, I've known that for a long time and operated like that for a while, but to really know that in a deeper way. And of course, I will know it in an even deeper way in the future. But it definitely feels newer. It's a really cool place, because then you're just focused on you and how you feel, and that's it. That's all that matters. And life continues to keep getting better and better because it has to match how you feel. But baby steps got me there. Baby steps got me there. If I didn't trust myself and how the universe works, I wouldn't be able to have so much relaxation and faith, as you call it, you know?
Yes, 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 yes. I wrote down what you said because I was like, I don't want to forget, which could be really helpful in these conversations from now on, like writing stuff down. But you said make more and work less. And I think that is, I mean, how long have we been in this industry and talking about that, but not necessarily behaving? Like, I know what has, I shouldn't speak for Rachel, how it's been for me in the past is that I've been like, okay, I want to make more and work less. So what I need to do is work really hard, work a ton right now, so that later I can work less. And that's like the same story I was saying before about like not wanting to invest in myself until. And man, make more and work less. It's like, how do you do that? Well, you actually have to work less before you can find out if you can make more and work less, right? Like, and that's how it happened for me. Was, I think I've told you, recognizing like, oh, I'm working a lot and not making anything. So I could totally work less and still not make anything. And so that's what I started to do. And then instantly I started to make money, right? Like, it was, but it's not just that. It's not just make more and work less so you can garden. It's make more and work less because you are gardening. That was the difference maker. It was like, yes, when you feel into your truth. Rachel's truth has to do with gardening and hiking up mountains and skiing down hills and going on adventure vacations. Ooh, Rachel, side note, I know you're all listening, but Rachel, I have a client who just went on the most amazing vacation, and I thought of you. It was a trail running vacation in Iceland. And she just got back and was telling me all about it. It sounds terrible to me, like miserable, awful. Why would anyone do that? And she was like, it was the best. I shouldn't say miserable, awful. Why would anyone do that? It was amazing. Like, it was amazing. It was beautiful. She was present. It was like, but she did say like there were people on the trip who were complaining, like, I paid all this money and it has crap weather. And it's like, you can't really control the weather. Anyways, point being, I thought of you when I was looking at her pictures. Did we already talk about this?
No, but thank you, because you guys, I'm doing a vision board kind of challenge on my other channel, Hello Love on YouTube. Go check it out. And I made a vision board for the first time in probably 5 years, and I put the Aurora Borealis on it. And I'm pretty sure you can see that in Iceland at certain times of the year. And that's so cool that you just brought up Iceland and trail running. Yes, yes. And there's a trail runner on my vision board too. So it's like, I'm just sucking this information out of you.
You guys look at it. I was like, pause, hold on, I have to tell you a story. Yes, okay, so everyone who's watching this, and it was perfect for this client because she got so much clarity. She actually puts on running retreats, but they're very different from this one that she went on. And she was feeling into, right? She said, yes, going on this trip, this trail running trip, took all kinds of micro decisions for her. She did it with her husband, and he is like she is a running instructor and a runner herself, but she's not like a champion. So her really mission and passion is to help people like her she talks about herself as a back of the pack runner, right? Help people like her to love running again and to keep running injury free and stop the cycle that a lot of us get on, which is like get frustrated that we aren't the athletes that we used to be, go out and weekend warrior it, and then injure ourselves and then take 6 months off. And then, so anyway, so she's like, her husband is like the legit guy out in front who wins everything. And she's like the back of the pack, just trotting along. And so she had all sorts of fear around doing this trip with her husband and around like how that was going to go. And I don't know why I'm telling you all this anymore, but point being is she had to make all these sort of micro commitments and release what she thought the trip was going to be and let it become what it wanted to be, which was so much more than what she had even expected. But point being, she got clarity when she was there. So she went thinking it was going to do one thing for her business. But because she was there and she was present and she like, it did something with her and her husband and their marriage and how like it was amazing that way, but it was also amazing for her business in a totally different way than she thought. Like it gave her so much clarity into what is possible, right? The way that she could run retreats, and even more clarity. This was something like, I want to do stuff like this. And then when she was a participant in it, she recognized, I want to participate in stuff like this. I don't ever want to run it. Like, I don't want to be the person who's running the trail twice and marking it and doing, like, she got so much clarity. Anyways, I don't want to tell you all that, except for I'm glad it's on your vision board. And I thought of you.
No, actually, I love that you're telling us this because, you know, one of the big things that has stopped me in life is, and I'm sure you can relate to this, like, if I can't be really good at it, I don't want to do it. And for me, you guys hear about my hiking all the time. I moved here because of the hiking. And yet I was really afraid of the mountains. And it took me a while to know that I could do it. And I'm not a very fast hiker uphill. I'm like a little mountain goat downhill. Like, it's really, really fun. And I love to climb, but like the actual hiking up, straight up a mountain, which is pretty much all we have, it takes me a while. Like I don't know. It just does. I'm a slow hiker. And well, in my mind, I'm not the best, most fastest hiker. I'm not a slow hiker. And so when I go with other people, it's really apparent. Like if they are really fast, I feel bad for being slow and holding things up. And it really discouraged me for a long time from believing in myself and trying harder trails, because if I'm not the fastest one, there's just something in my brain that says like, I'm not good enough. I shouldn't be doing this. And I'm sure a lot of you can relate. But when I go by myself and I can feel okay at my own pace and great and like enjoy looking around, like I don't want to be the one who is racing to the top anyway. I want to look around. I want to take pictures. I want to investigate side trails. I want to look for wildlife. Like if I'm free to go at my own pace, which of course I always am, but when I'm free of that pressure that I put on myself and I'm allowing myself to go at my own pace, which is still fast, which I always have to remind myself of. It's like retrain my brain. I'm not a slow hiker. Even if I was, it'd be okay. But you know what I mean? It's the most incredible time that I have when I just do my own thing and I take that pressure off of having to be the best or having to do it someone else's way. And I'm telling you guys this because if Carrie's client was more like me, like she might not have gone on that trip. She had to make all those little adjustments in her brain to let herself go too. And I would miss out on like one of the biggest joys of my entire life if I thought that I was doing something wrong, or I thought that I had to do it someone else's way in order for it to be successful, or for me to be like taking it seriously. Like I'm going to take time during the week to do this because this is what I've. And so paying attention to your own way, your own rhythms, your own desires, your own likes, regardless of what it may look like for someone else, can really help you open up to more of your truth and to more of the joy that you can get out of this life.
Yes, 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 yes. And I have to tell you about what happened for this client. And so one, she was telling herself the story that she was a slow runner, and she was all freaked out about going on this trip, that she was super excited, right? Like there was more yes, do it, than no, don't do it, obviously, or she wouldn't have shown up. But there were a lot of fears. Like there was a lot of story that she had going on, right? And one of them was, everyone else on this trip is going to be like my husband, right? I'm going to be so far behind everyone else because I'm a back of the pack runner, and these people are serious trail runners. And of course, what she discovered was that, oh, that's not true at all. I'm not a back of the pack runner in this pack, right? In this pack, in these people who decided to take this kind of adventure, there are people slower than me who do this. So that was like major for her. And there was a lot around, like, she spent a long time, I think they spent like a year planning on it, but there was a lot around, am I going to be in shape to complete it? Am I going to, right? And then realizing like, I can do more than I thought I could. I'm in way better shape than, and even where the demands of the trip were more than she knew going in. Like had she known going in, she probably for sure would have been a no to some of the things. But because she didn't know, she recognized, oh, I can totally do this. But also her husband, she felt like I'll be holding him back. He's going to have to slow down for me. It won't be like, this was a whole story. And yet he did slow down for her. Like he did slow down to be with her. And his experience of that was, wow, I get to be so much more present. I'm so busy competing all the time and trying to get there first. I've never noticed how beautiful it is, how much joy there is, how much. So it's like win, 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 when she just took little micro steps, or little baby steps of like, I hear you story, I hear you fear, and I'm going to choose to go a different way. So that is number one. I just wanted to tell you that, like that, how that ended was like, yeah, even better. Even better. Turns out she's not that slow, and her husband loves slowing down for her. Winning. They did, sidebar, there was one day, I guess it was like, it was part race, part like they did keep track of how people were doing. And so it was like stages, you know? So her husband, one day she was like, you know what, why don't you just go ahead and win it today? And so like, he got that joy as well of like winning that stage, but also spending time with his wife. So everybody got what they needed. And yes, you can see the lights, but I want to go all the way back, Rachel, to your screenwriting journey. Because at the beginning of this call, you were like, listen, you guys are going to see my movies in the theater. You're going to like this. I am a showrunner. It will happen. Like, you know this. But then you said, but first I had to X, Y, and Z, right? I took a class. And I just want to say that for me, that has been sometimes the thing that will stop me, is knowing my dream is possible. Because I feel it, because I know it. And then thinking that I have to see the linear path to get there. So I just want to clarify that all these baby steps that you're taking, they do make strategic, logical sense. And it wasn't like it came from your brain to do any of those things.
Yeah, no, I didn't feel like I had to do any of that. In fact, at first, I thought I was maybe being afraid of just going straight to my goal when I really decided that I wanted to learn screenwriting. I'm a writer. I always wanted to be a writer. I've written many books and poems and all kinds of things, but I'd never taken screenwriting. And so when I realized, well, I was all ready to share my story with a producer and other writers so that they could write my story. And I had like a show Bible. I had everything that I needed in order to pitch a TV show. But I realized I want to be in the room writing, and I can only do that if I know how to write their way, right? And so when I realized, and I don't want to just contact my contacts right now and try to pitch my show. I want to write the pilot for my show. I almost thought like, ooh, am I chickening out? Am I making this longer than it needs to be? But when I really checked in with myself, I really wanted to learn how to do this. And the thing that really helped me along there was the synchronicities that lined up when I made that decision. I meditated, had the thought of I'd like to write my pilot, went to my computer and saw if there were any local screenwriting classes happening. And, or maybe I just even typed in screenwriting classes, but the University of Utah popped up. There was a screenwriting class starting in a week and a half. There was one spot left. It was $500 for the whole semester. I could audit it, and meaning I wouldn't get a grade, but I would go to class and, participate fully. And I was like, hello, like, that's amazing. And so I signed up and I went to class, and, it was perfect. My teacher was amazing. We got to meet with her privately. I got to write my pilot and have it read. We did a table read of it several times in class. And that's how you can tell that you're in your truth. It's like things will flow. It will be easy. Your next step will be easy, or at least easier than you might think it should be. And so that just brought me into the world of learning screenwriting, and I fell completely in love with it and have taken classes ever since then, and really got to know like the structure and the craft, and found that I could tell the stories that I have to tell in the best way possible for me in that modality. And it just really clicked for me. And so it wasn't chickening out for me to make my journey longer. It enabled me to do what I really ultimately want to do, which is to make bigger things.
I love it. Whenever you talk and I hear Intimate Alien come out, I just heard her. I heard what I really want to do. I want to make things.
Well, let me just tell you, because we're here, and this has been a baby step process for sure. I just had the idea that this summer I wanted to shoot something. I wanted to produce a film or an episode of something that I wrote. And so I wrote a short film a few weeks ago, which is great. But then I decided, like, no, I want to shoot this little episodic thing I have for Intimate Alien. And then I realized, oh, it's going to be an actual pilot. It's going to be a pilot for Intimate Alien. And I talked to a production team a couple days ago, and boy, we got a location. We're shooting a pilot for Intimate Alien this summer, and it's going to be freaking awesome.
Okay, so I want to acknowledge what Zach is saying, and then please tell me more, tell me more, tell me more. So Zach is just saying every lull where you might worry or stop, right? So like what my client was going through, where she was worried about, like, I don't know, am I going to be the slowest or whatever? Or like what Rachel was going through, like, am I chickening out? Is a chance to recalibrate to ease and grace. If you choose to make it one, this is magic. Thank you, Zach. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And yes, and it's easy to recalibrate to ease and grace when you have a knowing. Everything is working out for me. I am the creator of my life. What I want wants me back. It wants me back because I created it, and it's like calling to me, and I'm calling to it. And I can relax because all roads lead there. So whether Rachel had sold her pilot and then gone to screenwriting classes or done it, like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because you can relax. All roads lead where you want to go when you're relaxed.
Yep.
Now tell me about Intimate Aliens pilot. What?
Yeah, well, it like most things that happen, I don't know. It is what it is. It just kind of came together. It as you're on your path that feels good, which is, you're living your truth, things will pop into your head and come together and shift and morph into more of what you really want. And that's just what's been happening. I think last year at some time I realized, oh, anyone could submit something to Sundance. I didn't even know. And I was on a call with Carrie and our friend Jean at the time, and we were talking about what we want for ourselves. And I thought, I have a screening at Sundance and it's amazing. And then I realized after that, like, oh, there's no reason why I couldn't do that. And so, and now it's turned into this Intimate Alien pilot. So, I've had some ideas for a show for her for a while. And at first I thought I was going to make that just little like 3-minute kind of web series episodic things to show at Sundance. But now it's like, no, let's just go for it. We have ideas. I have all the connections I need through this. My friends who have a production company called The Moment Imaging. I think I'm on their podcast tomorrow, so I'll share that around. So, if you're open, if you're excited about life, if you're following those inner nudges, that intuition of yours, this is the stuff that's going to happen. Things are going to come together. You're going to go on amazing trips, even though you're afraid that you can't keep up with the pack. And you're going to find yourself in a whole new industry, surrounded by amazing creative people that inspire you. And you're getting to tell your story in a new way. And, like, it's never ending and it's so personal. My truth is really different from Carrie's, but Carrie's truth is so perfect for her,
And so lucky, right? Like, we're so lucky. Well, I mean, I guess luck doesn't really have anything to do with it, but like, thank goodness we each have our own unique magical truth. And this is going to go like kind of deep, right? But if we're all part of the all, we are each of us are the all experiencing itself, right? Then of course, we're going to be like different and unique and magical and find so much joy in experiencing ourselves. So like when Rachel talks about her journey, I'm excited and interested and intrigued and like all of the things. But when Rachel was like, I'm going to live in a van by myself and travel the country, I was like, I'm glad that's you and not me. Right? Like, and vice versa. Like, I'm sure when I'm telling her like about, I don't know, my cross-country coaching dreams or adventures, she's like, yeah, I'm really glad that's you. Like, good for you, but that's not for me. And I don't know. I love that. I love that we can be so connected and so inspired, and so much of what we all have in common in our dreams. It just goes back to what you started with. There's what lights us up. Let's see if I can put this into words. Okay, I get excited when I resonate truth. And when other people are living their truth, it does something, right? Like, it inspires me. It gets me going. And it's not that I want to live their truth, but it's why I watch weird documentaries or right? Like, it's because like, oh yes. And I know that's true for all of us. We all resonate with truth. If someone is living their truth, whether you want it or not, you can resonate with that and like take inspiration from that and hopefully decide to take some sort of small action because of it. That's what I'm feeling from everything you said, Rachel.
Yeah, I think it makes the world feel safer when you can witness someone doing what they really want to be doing. And especially if you know that at some point to them, it was a scary thing to get there. Like, it doesn't have to be scary to live the life that you want, but we are going to be overcoming some limiting beliefs that we've really built up in ourselves, like I'm not the kind of person that can hike really huge mountains. I don't have enough stamina, or I don't have enough muscle, or I'm not that kind of person. Have you ever heard yourself say that to you? I'm not the kind of person who does that. And when you are at least feeling satisfied or good, or when you have some kind of self-awareness in the moment, you can hear yourself say that and not believe it, and remind yourself, oh wait, that's an old story, that's not true. I don't need to make that my decision maker. What can I do to prepare for that? How can I make it easier to be that person? And that's really where we're getting at today, is what can you experiment with so that you can prove yourself wrong? How can you throw in a baby step to get to where you want to be so that it's not as difficult?
So this has me thinking of a conversation that sometimes, I don't know, I feel like we just had this conversation on this channel, so sorry if we just did, but about, you said something like, if you hear yourself saying like, I'm not that kind of person. I'm not the kind of person who. And that reminded me of when people say, so I have this friend who we used to run together regularly, and she was always late. She was always late. If you watch me, you know I don't tolerate tardiness. But I was tolerating her tardiness, and it was creating weirdness. And she was being really flaky a lot of the times. Like, it wasn't just that she was late, it's that she would like at the last minute cancel. And so one day she was running late, and she like called me or messaged me and said, I'm not the kind of person who's late, like, whatever. And I was like, but you are. Or I think she said, I'm not a flaky person. And I said, okay, I love you, so I'm going to tell you the truth. Yes, you are. You don't want to be a flaky person, but you've been flaking. Ergo, you're a flaky person, right? Like, it was like, oh, we have to be in alignment with the stories we're telling ourselves. And so, wait, is that even right? Bleh. I'll just say what is going on. She was recognizing, okay, I'm saying that I want to be this way, right? I'm saying I don't want to be a flaky person, but I'm behaving like a flaky person. And so we can think about it the other way. So that's what I have a tendency to do, right? Is say, I'm, capable of anything, and but then behave like someone who's not, right? Behave like the smaller version of me. And I do this with clients a lot, where we'll talk about, they'll tell me what their priorities are. And then I'll be like, and their priorities are spend more time in my garden, da, 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 da. And then I'll say, okay, let's look at where you're spending your time and your money. And shit, howdy, they're not spending any time or money on anything that has to do with gardening or climbing mountains or anything that they say their stated priorities are. I'm talking in circles, but I know there's a point here, which is just about, well, the phrase I always say is behaving like the person you want to become. And how you do that, right? This is what we're talking about, is any kind of baby step, right? So for this girl who doesn't want to be a flake, I was like, cool, if you don't want to be a flake, be on time. And also, here's how I'm going to help you with that. If you're more than 3 minutes late, I leave without you, right? Like, but yeah, I mean, I think Rachel and I, it's so funny because I don't think that you and I talk a lot about behaviors, because for me, so much of the work, the amazing stuff that is happening in my life is because of the energy and the beliefs. But behaviors can really inform that. And that's what we get out with the feel the fear and do it anyway baby steps.
Yeah, behavior is a result of your vibration. You can't behave differently than where you are vibrating. If you're in a really bad mood, if you believe the world is out to get you, you're going to behave as a different person than if you are in love with life and knowing that the universe is always out to help you. You just will. And that's okay. But like Carrie's saying, having awareness over that is really empowering so that you can change your insides and then change your behavior. We were actually talking on a coaching call yesterday, the day before, or something like that, about how we are animated by our higher selves when we have enough embodiment happening, when we can feel so relaxed and so open that we allow more alignment, more of our higher dimensional energy to be present in this moment, in this body, in this dimension. Things that we never would say come out of our mouths to people, and synchronicity can happen. We drive a different way and we see the most beautiful wild creature, or sunset or rainbow or view, and we're just so pleased that happened. Or we find that we could save a turtle from the road because we were on that other route, or we're just like so emboldened to apply for something that we never would before, or reach out in a way that we wouldn't. We're animated by the bigger part of ourselves, and we are part of the delivery system of our dreams. We're not passive. We don't need to be passive. And if we can feel this enough and relax enough and have faith enough that this is how it works, this is how it works, right? But we've got to be in that vibration, that mood, that feeling for that to work for us. Or how we normally do it is we will receive an intuition, and then if we don't swat it away, we can process it and we can do whatever we need to do with it. It's just another step in the process, but it doesn't mean that it's bad. But then when we're in a really bad mood, we are saying things we wouldn't normally say, but they're usually snippy and they're defensive, and we don't call people back, and we ignore the intuition because we don't have time for it. So we really do get to decide how our lives play out and how much joy we have in the process by deciding, how am I going to feel today? And I mean, I'm going to plug my thing because to talk about baby steps, this has all kinds of sections in it. You don't have to fill out every one, but each one of those is a baby step. Yeah. So we are in control, which is so good to know. And we're never doing anything wrong. We get full control over what our, who we are, what we're being, what we're attracting, and everything's okay. But if you want things to be even better, then go for it in as small a way as you need to at first, and things will really, really turn around.
What you always say, Rachel, or what you used to say to me all the time is, you're always right. You're always right. Oh, that made me yawn.
Yeah, you're always right. And you don't know how good it can be. You don't know how good it can be. So keep going. It's worth it, because when you turn the corner, you're like, oh my God, I didn't know how good it could be. And then it keeps getting better and better and better and better.
Amen to that. Okay, so we are like already out of time. Thank you guys for your comments. Zach has been especially chatty today. I think he was saying, wait, I don't understand this one. Love sent, email inbound. I don't know. Are you sending us an email? I don't know what that means, but now I'm excited. But he said, that's great. The math of life. Oh, and Guillaume, you are welcome. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, what I want to say to you guys is, you're always right. and you don't know how good it can get. And Guillaume, I got to spend time with Guillaume he's in one of our programs, and Guillaume, it is like we spent some time in Guillaume's vision, and I like just got a taste of how good it can get for you, Guillaume, and I'm super duper excited. But for everybody else who's watching, if you want to join us on this journey, if you want love and support and momentum and someone to hold the mirror up, and mostly just an energetic container to marinate in that is full of the vibration that you're wanting to hold, and the better and better and better and better, then join us in our multidimensional abundance coaching group at intuitiveart.com/membership. You will love it. You will love it. And if you've had the nudge, like, oh, I want to do that, but just remember, you're always right. So that I want to do that nudge. That's it. The but is, I mean, you're always going to have a but. But whatever is the true desire, it doesn't have to be joining us in the group. It could be whatever it is. Whatever is that true desire, you're right. Right? That's the part of you that's right. And you don't know how good it can get if you just start taking some small actions towards it, even if those small actions are being willing to believe that it could be yours or happen for you. Okay, I'm done ranting. I love you guys.
Well said. Lots of love, everybody. This was an awesome conversation. Thanks for being here. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye, guys.